This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warn, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitters.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 299, Vehicles We Didn't Get in the United States.
Tonight, Aaron shuts the front door, Ben turns white, Andy gets some sand in his undercarriage.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron, and we've also got Andy joining us tonight as a co-host. Been promoted, Andy.
Glad to be here.
And
the weekend review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And while you're there, make sure you use Off-Road Podcast for 10% off.
well, Andy, you're here.
I am. It's always good to be here.
Yes.
So what you been up to?
Well, let's see. The usual kind of living on the right-hand side of the car, doing the JDM vehicle thing. Went out to Sand Lake this week with some other Mitsubishi friends. And so we had two Delicas, two Monteros, my Pajero, a couple of Toyota 4Runners as well. We kind of had our fun in a very windy and soggy Oregon coast, but any time in the dunes is a good time.
Nice.
Yeah. I saw you and a Mitsubishi Montero picture in the PDX Overlanders, and what was cool was that I knew both of those rigs. I don't usually know the people in the spotted, so that made me feel good.
I actually got spotted on the way to the dunes. Like some guy in a Tundra, like what was it, cement colored Tundra. It was like he did the old, like, he pulls past you and then like pulls back and like hanging back here and then like slow. We look over and he's like got his camera out and he's waving, and then it ended up the photo ended up in PDX Overlanders. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Nice. Yeah. The other one who didn't apparently keep following you and go to the dunes with you, which is a bummer. That's my friend Rick. He's a local around here. He hangs out with the Yamhill guys I hang out with. So between him and one other guy, they have 4 of those rigs, either Dodge Raiders or Monteros.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, we had a 2nd gen Montero, 3rd gen Montero. We had an L300 Delica, an L400 Delica. We were just like, we kept thinking, like, we just need somebody here in a Montero Sport and a 1st gen or a Raider. So
yeah, cover it all.
That's right, a little bit of everything.
Yep. Did you stay overnight at Sand Lake, or what'd you guys do?
No, I had adult things to do Sunday, and I mean adult things like cleaning the house kind of things. So just so you know, it was like I had to go into the adulting world, which may mean I played way more hours of Mud Runner than most adults do. But anyway, didn't stay overnight. Looks like the guys that did stay overnight did end up getting some snow on the coast there, or they were up by Hebo, I believe. But looks like they had a good time.
You playing Snow Runner or Mud Runner?
I am cheap and I'm playing Mud Runner because it was like $6 on Steam, and I was ultra cheap and didn't get the expansion pack when it was like $3. But I probably will. I the first time I played it, I was messaging a buddy of mine, and I'm like, dude, this game takes forever. I'm like, this is like real time getting stuck in the mud. I'm like, what a crap show this is. And he's like, oh, wait till you try Snow Runner.
It's so true. Although I don't know how you play it, but they just released the mods about a month ago for console, and usually you can only get mods on PC, and it brought some really fun stuff. Some stuff is just ridiculous and over the top, but there's a rock crawler in there that just goes about everywhere, and the suspension does what suspension should do, and it's really realistic, and it's fun driving that one around.
Yeah, I've got Snow Runner on my PlayStation 4, and my only problem is my PlayStation 4 died.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've got to do some re-upload stuff, but it's been here in the garage instead of in the house because we were doing all the moving the house stuff around. But that game's fun. I played it when it came out for a couple hours, good 10 hours probably. Fell in love with it.
Yeah. It's really realistic as far as what the physics seem like they do. So, and
I totally agree. I was
Yeah.
taking, I keep challenging myself. So I'm like, I take the truck, I put the log cart on the back and then the log trailer, and I try to load the whole thing up. And I try to go up these hills and I like rolled it on its side, right? So then I got to get like the crappy 4-wheel drive to try to tip it back over, right? And so I've got like the worst one, right? Like it's a step above like the crappy Chevy Napco, right? It's actually like, anyway, I'm like giving it all it's got, and I'm like screaming in the other room, going yes, and like finally get it right. And my wife's like, it's like 4:00. You should probably do something. I'm like, yeah, I probably should. So,
yeah. Is that why she replied in the chats, adulting? Ha ha ha.
Very likely. Very likely.
Well, what have you been up to, Ben?
So even though I've had like all these bets against me actually working on my rooftop tent and getting it done before camping, the repair is done. It's I need to put probably another coat of paint on there. I should have uploaded some pictures on here, but I've got paint on it. Needs another coat of paint. And then I've just got to hang the headliner. I need to go and straighten out my cuts from where I cut out the old headliner. It's got some seams that I cut before. I'm just going to cut out those seams and use that because that'll give me a nice square. And then I use some hipster red and black flannel quilted material for a headliner because it came with the padding on it already. So it just makes it nice and simple. I'll be able to glue it in. I just need to run the wires for my electrical for my new lights.
It's like pre-quilted.
Yeah, it's pre-quilted.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that should help with some insulation and some sound deadening.
So the best part of it is the stuff that it was that I was gonna get didn't have that, and so it was like another $20, but it was an end cut because it was just long enough to be that end cut, but it saved me $20 on that too.
Sweet.
I paid
nice.
$30, I think, for all the material, and I've got an extra 3 feet.
Seamstress Ben.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see it finished.
Yeah, I would have finished it today, but unfortunately, someone at work got sick. Actually, 2 people, so I went to work. Technically, it's not finished, Rick, but you can shut up.
He can still sleep in it.
I can.
It's sleepable.
It's not leakable. It's sleepable. I've got some Vision X. They're little inside light bar button push dome light things that Vision X has. Our Vision X rep was in, and we had gotten a set for something else, and I was like, hey, can you get a hold of those for me? And he's getting some my way, so hopefully I'll have all my mounts set up for those, so all I'll have to do is connect the wires and screw them into the wood that'll be up there.
Nice.
Yep. So
very nice.
But I turned my garage super white and dusty because of the gel coat, and I think I sent Aaron video of the dust that wiping it off. It was just like thick dust, and it was all over my garage. My beard was white. I was smart and wore a respirator ahead of time.
Good for you.
Yes. Fiberglass does not come out of your lungs, and I was wearing my glasses just in case something got in my eyes. Mm-hmm. They weren't safety glasses; they were just my regular glasses. But it's better than nothing.
But he's wearing shorts and flip flops.
Board shorts.
I had jeans on because my garage is pretty cold.
That's good. It's good. Always wear that PPE. I mean, I remember when I was younger and dumber, and my roommate in college and I had bought this beater car, and it was like this robin's egg blue color. So we went and bought like 6 cans of New Holland tractor yellow, and we spray painted it in a garage, doors closed, no respirator on. Like my nose hair was yellow for like 5 days afterwards.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
who needs PPE? You know, you can have fingers like this.
Yeah, exactly. Look what happened here. Like, oh my god, it's just.
Oh,
What were you saying about dad jokes? Anyway,
Exactly. Yeah, that was pre-show, but yeah, I got called out on some dad jokes today.
what about you,
Yeah.
Aaron? What's new, man?
Well, I haven't done anything off-road related, although I have been driving my truck to work. The I can't remember if I've mentioned this or not, but the fan motor stopped blowing in my 99 Avalon. That is my daily driver. And so I bought a new fan motor because, you know, it's only $20, super easy to replace, 3 bolts, 1 electrical clip, put it in, didn't fix the problem. So then I had to step up to the next most expensive part, like $26 resistor, 2 screws. Got the part in, and it's located under the dash, above the gas pedal, the very upper corner, and one of the screws is blocked by like the sound deadening material that's attached to the firewall. It doesn't matter how long of a screwdriver you have or how short of a screwdriver you have, you cannot get these Phillips screws out at all. The steering column's in the way, the brackets for all the pedals are in, I mean, there's everything's in the way. It's ridiculous.
you have
So
to
I
pull
have-
the engine to get to the motor or the fan.
It's absurd. And so I called up Toyota on Friday and said, "Hey, what do you charge to install this part?" They're like, "Well, the part's $89." I'm like, no. I just need, what is your shop charge to install the part? I already have the part. And they're like, $58. I'm like, sold. I'll be in on Wednesday. So
58. Is that American dollars?
yeah. So
Wow.
I think they're going to be upset when I pay $58 to have them. I mean, like, I reclined my seat all the way back and I put my feet up at the sunroof and I'm laying all the way down underneath the gas pedals trying to do this work. The blood's rushing to my head. I can't turn the thing. I tried like a socket set with a universal joint and a screwdriver bit in the end of that. And even if I was able to get the screws out, I don't know if I'd have been able to get them back in. I mean, it was just so absurd. So Toyota's usually really good about this stuff. So I'm a little caught off guard by it.
You know,
And then-
I just worry like someday, and I'm gonna knock on some wood there, but you know, it's like someday when the heater core goes out on one of my rigs, I know it's not like difficult, but it's ridiculously long time. It's a ridiculous amount of time. I actually thought when I had a Jeep Cherokee, I thought my heater core was going out, and I watched this video. The video is entitled "The Worst Repair on Jeep Cherokees." Dead serious.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, my floor's wet. It's got to be a heater core. I'm going to have to pull all this stuff out. I said, you know what? Before I do this, I'm just going to call my mechanic, who's the best. And I said, hey, if I need this replaced, like I'll buy the $35 heater core. What do you charge to do this? And he's like, about $5,000. And I said, come on. He's like, no, it's horrible. I said, well, have you watched the video? There's this video on YouTube called Worst Jeep Repair Ever. Like, have you watched it? And he pauses and goes, that's my video. And I said, oh, okay, I get it. He's like, I'll do it, but it's horrible. I said, yeah, luckily it ended up not being that, but I know someday I'm going to have to replace a heater core and the whole dash is going to have to come out and all that stuff.
Yep. I did a heater core in a Ford Escort, and it literally you have to drop the steering column. All of the dash comes out for a $20 part.
Yep.
I had that worry on my 4Runner, and then it turned out it wasn't even the heater core.
Oh no!
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, which made it an easy fix.
Did you at least replace the heater core while you're out there? While you're down there?
Well, I didn't have to drop. I didn't even get as far as dropping the dash.
Oh, good.
It was the blender actuator, which is on the side where you can just drop the glove compartment.
So, well, anyways, because of that, I've been driving my Nissan because I don't have any heat in the car. It doesn't blow any air. That's kind of a problem. And so I've been driving the Nissan, and my timing chain guides, I think that they're completely gone now. So it's a known issue for Nissan Frontiers of the timing chain guides. They use some inferior material and they wear out at about 100,000 or so ish miles. I'm at 147,000 miles, and in the last 10,000 miles, my engine has gotten really, really loud. Like it's howling. Caught me off guard. So it went from making a tiny bit of noise to howling really quick. So
Ooh.
I had planned to do this Nissan Titan V8 swap into my truck down the road. Now I need to do that a lot sooner. So I've started shopping for parts. Andy, I don't know. Do you know anybody who has a Copart account? I need to maybe just buy a whole truck.
Ooh, I do not. I do not.
All right, that's okay. We'll figure it out. But I might end up just buying an entire truck because you need all these nickel and dime pieces. It's not just about having an engine and a transmission and a wire harness and a ECU. There's all these little tiny pieces of the puzzle. So that's where I'm at with that. So my truck's got me sad right now.
There is a new Nissan Frontier coming out if you were interested in that. Just saying.
I am interested in that. It looks like a great rig.
What's up, Ben? You're breaking up. You're going through a tunnel, I think. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we'll talk about that maybe next week. We'll hold off on that. But besides that, I put a new front door in my house over the weekend, something that we've been needing to do for 2.5 years. It's the door we replaced was 100 years old, and the threshold was so worn down. It was a wooden threshold, so worn down from people walking in and out that not only could you see daylight, but I bet you small snakes could make their way under the door. Which I don't really want snakes in my house. So, we finally got the door replaced, and the forecast shows snow for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in my part of town. So
same, yeah.
Excited, yeah.
Get those winches ready. Get those recovery straps ready, right? It's going to be snowing in Portland. By the way, if nobody's ever seen this, you can type in is it snowing in Portland? And there's a website called, I think, Is It Snowing in Portland? And if it's not, it just says no. And if it is, it's like Kermit the Frog freaking out, and it just says panic, yes, or something like that. So
panic. So it snowed here like 2 weeks ago. And I pulled 3 rigs out of the ditch that day. It was a lot of fun. So the first one was a Bubba rope, and the next 2 were Warren winch recoveries. So yeah.
No kidding. We got just like maybe a 1/4 inch of snow, and it was melted by the next day. So
no, we got at least 3 inches.
Oh wow.
And up in the hills where I live, it stayed for 3 days, where it was mostly melted by the end of the next day.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. It was good. It was. I was having so much fun. There were some rigs I wanted to pull out, but they were on like the main highway, and I was like, it's just too much liability shutting traffic down to winch across the highway to pull rigs out. So
totally agree.
I didn't save them. They probably paid a hefty tow bill. Yeah. So that's what I've been up to. Chad says he loves that a 1/4 inch of snow will shut down Portland.
This is true. I grew up in Minnesota and Wisconsin, right? I mean, I never even had snow tires until I moved out here. And so, my friends, when I moved out here, we got like 9 inches of snow in 2008. My friends are like, are you kidding? Like, seriously? I'm like, well, we do have hills and we don't have snow removal. And that does make a huge difference because let me tell you, Minnesota and Wisconsin is like flat as a pancake. So
yeah.
Get the hills, and then it melts a little bit, and then ices over, and then melts again, and then ices again. Yeah,
Dan wants to know if we ever get ice in Oregon. They're dealing with that around Springfield, Missouri this week. So we do, but usually it is snow that has melted and then frozen and turned into ice.
Yeah, that makes it really fun, especially in Washington when we get ice storms.
Yeah.
It's a whole other ball game out here when that happens. I remember back in 2008 when like the manhole covers would be warm and then they'd like build up ice around the manhole covers and you'd have these like 4 inch berms around the manhole covers. And I saw it was like a Hyundai Elantra and it hit it and it just spun that sucker around like crazy. It's like watching a pinball game.
Nice. Oh man, that's awesome. Dan, I don't know if you'll answer or not, but are you going to make it to the Moore Overland Expo since you're in Springfield? You're really close.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
And it sounds like Dan is going to make it.
That's great. As long as the ice it doesn't shut it down. It probably won't. It's an overlander thing, right? Everybody's got KO2s. Everybody's got KO2s, so they'll be just fine. Yeah. Also, don't forget to check out Patriot Patch and their awesome selection of patches and shirts. You can join the Patch of the Month Club. Just got my patch in this week or over the weekend or something like that. So actually here it is up on the screen. That's even easier to look at. So love is patient. And that is so true when you're dealing with tax stamps. Sometimes they can take a while.
Yes, they can.
I wouldn't know anything about that though.
Nope. Lost everything on a boat.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
You know, speaking of PowerTank, guess what showed up in the mail for me yesterday or Thursday? I think it was Thursday.
Oh, you get a hose?
I got a new tank. I got a 10-pound tank, I think it is. So it's a little smaller. My big tank is great for long trips, but the little tank's nice for shorter trips, that day trip type stuff. Makes it a little easier on space too, especially when I'm going camping. And then I also got the liquid filled what is it, the regular one? I can't think of what it's called. The regular gauge versus
Analog. Yep.
Digital gauge.
Yeah.
I wanted to compare them, and I wanted to have an extra gauge so I could use it on the air compressor, because that extra length is so nice.
It's a game changer having a long filler. Yep, I love it.
Yeah,
I show that off any chance I get.
I hate having to bend down. I'm tall. It hurts.
Getting old.
Yep, getting old.
Yeah. Andy, I just had a wild idea. I think you as in Warren and PowerTank should collab. You should use the drum as a little mini pressurized tank. You could pressurize the drum with air, and you'd have an air source inside of a winch drum.
Look at you, all engineering and stuff.
Yeah, it'll never work. Yeah, crazy idea.
I'll have to pitch that one.
Yeah, pitch it. And then when it falls so flat, be like, yeah, the Off-Road Podcast guys.
Not all of them, just Aaron.
Just Aaron. Just Aaron.
That's right.
Yeah, revoke him. Well, did you put these news stories in, Jeremy? I mean, Jeremy, Ben?
No, I did not.
Ben, Jeremy?
That was Jeremy.
Yeah. So Randy Slalson wins his third King of Hammers. This year, I'm just so busy with the house stuff going on right now. I'm trying to get a shop built and stuff that I didn't pay a single lick of any King of Hammers coverage. Did you guys get to see much?
I watched a little bit. I did not get to watch a ton. And then I also I also got to see some updates from friends that were at King of the Hammers. John Matthews, friend of the show, he was on for our Hummer episode. Unfortunately for him, he blew his engine. I want to say it was like the last 15 miles of the race or something like that.
Oh,
yeah, it's too bad. I had checked in on the standings at one point. He was in second place, and I was like, "Hey, I know John. That's awesome," you know. And
nice.
I ended up watching most of the Everyman Challenge, and then only caught part of the big dance, the 4400 class on Saturday. So.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, I had a buddy that drove out there, and like as he got there, he blew up his third member in the back of his fourth gen. Fortunately enough, that's the best place to have something break.
Yeah.
The guys at Yukon hooked him up, and got when he left on Sunday, he had a brand new rear third.
Nice. Yeah, that's if everybody seems to break something, whether it's a blown trailer tire or driveline issues or an engine, even just getting there, it just seems to be like this infamous, like, oh, you're going to Hammers? Let me get you a flat tire.
Yeah, it was. There was some really cool stuff happening this year. I'm excited. There's a story we're going to talk about next week, and one of the other stories is 3 Ford Bronco bodied. All 3 of them finished King of the Hammers this year too.
Yeah,
you were paying pretty close attention to these, weren't you?
I was. Yeah, all 3 of those vehicles. That's Von Gittin Jr., Lauren Healy, and my God, Jason Shearer. They're all Warren-equipped vehicles too. They all had a Warren winch on them, so that was a big deal for us. You know, we work a lot with Ford at Warren. You know, in that kind of same vein too, we just got word that the winch for the Ford Tremor Super Duty package, you can now buy that through Ford Performance. So previously you had to order that when you ordered the truck, but that's just come in. But yeah, those Bronco bodied Ultra 4 cars are pretty sweet.
Yeah, I remember the first one they came out with that was in the Baja, because Shelby Hall, who was on the show, she was a part of the team for that, and that was really cool to see, considering her history with Bronco and her grandpa.
Yeah, absolutely. Legendary family. We when we did the Alcan, we were running in memory of Rod Hall. So that is a family that is esteemed and steeped in rally and race knowledge. That's pretty cool.
We got a bunch of comments here about the King of Hammers and Andy. Sorry, not Andy. Mercedes says,
that was my wife, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are just like intertwined, and that's
well,
how married couples are. Right?
We're married, so
yep. She says that everyone breaks down before heading to or coming from the King of Hammers, and I've heard, like everybody's saying here, I've heard a ton of that. So Rick says, a different Rick says that the Everyman Challenge is awesome. Another Rick says that he loves his power tank filler hose and gauge, and Michael Lathwood says, hello, boys.
Yeah, I still wanted to make sure we were seeing it because we saw it.
Yep. We see this.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, this week's a fun one, right, guys?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, when we came up with this topic, I was like, we need Andy on this one. For sure.
Yeah.
That, and first thing I did is like, I texted Andy. I'm like, hey, Andy, you want to come on the show? You want to guest host this time instead of be a guest?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, which is all the vehicles that you can't get. So
it's because they're just not safe. They're just not safe to be in our country,
you're killing me. You're killing me.
Right? But if you wait 25 years, they'll be safe.
Ask me how I know.
Right? Maybe it's just the ones you're buying, though, are really, really slow, so they're not as unsafe. You just talked about 0 to 60 times recently.
Yeah. Somebody in one of the groups on Facebook was saying that, you know, the Subaru Crosstrek, which does 0 to 60 in 8 seconds, is unsafe. Is like unsafe. It's so slow. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, the dude has obviously not driven many vehicles. And listen, I know, like, in this day and age, we're living in sort of a modern muscle car era where even like the cheaper cars are slower than the slow cars were way back when. But I'm like, 8 seconds. First of all, I don't have a single car that goes 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. And I have 5 cars. And, but like, seriously, you know, that being said, like, I looked it up, and like a 2011 Chevy Malibu with the V6 does 0 to 60 in like 6.3 seconds. That's crazy. You know, my Mitsubishi Delica probably used to do 0 to 60 in like 26 seconds. So,
all right. So my 4Runner, The 0 to 60 is they only show the V8 is 8 seconds. Which
That's not bad to me. I mean, like, maybe I'm just listen. I can't be that much older than you guys, but like, maybe it's just because I'm old. I don't know. I'm like, but I'm not that old.
Yeah, I wonder what my Camry does. I've got a hybrid Camry, and that's probably about the same.
It's probably even fast. It's probably like in the high sixes, dude. You should see what the new RAV4 hybrid does. It's like 0 to 60 in the 5-second range.
7.7 seconds is my Camry.
So my wife just got a new pickup truck, and it is the F-150 with the 3.5 EcoBoost, and it's as fast as my stock 2005 Subaru Legacy GT all-wheel drive turbo car was when it was stock. 0 to 60 and quarter mile times are basically the same for our pickup truck and the sports car that I used to own.
It's nuts. Yeah. We are living in a modern muscle car era. Like, you think about, I mean, you think back to like the 60s and everyone goes, no, that's not possible. But like, seriously, like a Honda Accord will smoke a 69 Camaro with the 350. Like, it's probably not even a fair fight. But modern technology has caught up. Listen, you're not going to get the same experience. Like, trust me, driving a 69 Camaro with the 350 and a 4-speed is going to sound and feel way faster and better. But like, on paper, it's crazy.
And the Accord will probably go around a track way faster too.
Yeah, listen, I love me some American muscle, but like, it's crazy. Just you look at those. You know, a buddy of mine, he's an auto writer, and he's got the new C8 Corvette, and that's a 2-wheel drive sports car. And I know we're on the off-road podcast here, but it's 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Like, that was like crotch rocket fast. You know, not that long ago. That's insane.
Yeah. I 15 years ago when crotch rockets were doing that, I didn't believe that cars would break into threes. It didn't seem like physics would allow that.
Yeah, not for under $200,000 at least, you know. And here's this Corvette that goes for, you know, well under $100,000. But like Dan here says, his 200 series Land Cruiser does 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds. I don't think if you ganged all my cars together, they'd do 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds.
Yeah. I like Rick's comment. So we were talking about the import laws. He says that they're so slow it takes them 25 years to get to the U.S.
I got to remember that. That's classic. That's great. Yeah. It's true.
Well, let's talk about some of these cars that we don't get here in the U.S. So the first one I know is absolutely near and dear to Andy and Mercedes.
Ooh. I'm getting hot thinking about it.
The Suzuki Jimny.
Oh, love me some Jimny. Mercedes and I were in Iceland in 2019, and for 9 glorious days, we had a 2019 Suzuki Jimny, the brand new one. And it's as good as they say it was. We did a video on our YouTube channel, Crankshaft Culture, about how good it is. And I mean, it's 100 horsepower, 5-speed manual. It's got all the safety things. It's got 4 low, solid front and rear axles. It is just awesome. It's so good. So good. Thank you, Rick. I will use that. But yeah, it's so good. I've driven the older ones, which are like a Samurai 660cc turbo. That's a little slow for the U.S. market, despite them making all sorts of fun turbo noises. They don't go very fast, but I think that there's room in the U.S. market for a small 4-wheel drive, like real 4-wheel drive, something smaller than a Bronco, something smaller than what the FJ Cruiser was, something even smaller than a JL Wrangler 2-door. I have all kinds of conspiracy theories about how I think the Jimny might show up in the U.S. It probably won't ever happen, but
here's a wild one. I'm going to throw this at you. The new Ford Maverick. Do you know about that?
I have heard the name got patented again or something like that, or registered again.
So it's going to be a smaller pickup truck than the Ford Ranger is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be based on a front wheel drive platform. It can be all wheel drive. So technically it's not like that awesome for off-roading, but if they're bringing in a small truck, maybe they'll bring in small capable SUVs.
with cafe fuel standards going up, people in the US love their 4-wheel drives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time you talked to somebody who didn't love the Suzuki Samurai? Okay, I know somebody out there doesn't love the Samurai, but small, capable, it doesn't need to haul the whole family. Like it's a recreational 4-wheel drive. It's like a UTV with a hard top and a heater, right?
You didn't use the word cute. Is that not one that you used to describe the Samurai? Or the
I don't even know
Sidekick?
what that word means.
Yeah.
Okay, it's cute. Sure, it's
It
cute,
is.
but it's cute
Especially
but
when they're-
capable.
Especially when they're teal. They're super cute. When they're teal.
Now you're just pandering to me.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that my conspiracy theory is that Toyota at one point had said, hold on, is everyone got their tinfoil hats on? Toyota at one point had said that they wanted a smaller, capable 4-wheel drive they could slot under their smallest SUV. And Toyota and Suzuki do have a partnership. Boy, I don't know. I mean, the Jimny gets better crash safety ratings than the Wrangler does in Europe by a lot. So I think it could pass the crash safety ratings. The problem is there's no Suzuki dealerships left in the US for cars. But if they brought it under, maybe they called it the FJ Mini or like the FJ40 or no, not 40, FJ20. I don't know. Who knows? My other conspiracy theory is it could show up as a Mitsubishi because Mitsubishi and Suzuki have an alliance and Mitsubishi needs a hit in the United States, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, Sammy Power, Rick.
Yep. Well, our next one here is the Bowler Bulldog. So I wasn't aware of this one. To me, it just looks like maybe they've bought the rights to the
Land Rover.
The
Defender. Thank you. I was struggling with that. What was popping in my head was D90 and D110. I couldn't come up with that Defender name. But yeah, I wonder if they bought the rights to this. I know that Bowler did like this race car back in the, or I should call it a race car, but a race truck back in the, called the Wildcat or something like that. I'm not sure, but it basically was like a rally raid SUV. Legit. I think I learned about that on Top Gear back in the day, actually.
It's sweet. I was looking at photos of it earlier, and when I first thought about it, I kept thinking to myself, what is that? Is that like something else? And I kept thinking of the Trawler, but that's not what it was. And it was that rally raid. I'm sure it's ridiculously fast. So
yeah. Yep. Cool rig. Definitely small production on that, I'm sure. And they probably don't want to spend the money it would take to get that into the US.
Right.
Ooh, this next one is one of my favorites that I watch online is the Isuzu D-Max.
Yeah. When I was in New Zealand and Australia in 2016, there were D-Maxes and stuff all over the place. And I'm just like, I'm this idiot on the side of the street going, oh my God, a D-Max. Like people look at me like, what's wrong with you? But they're, it's, you always want what you can't have kind of thing. But, I still say real Isuzus were good rigs. They were overbuilt and, they still sell that D-Max internationally. And I have a friend at 4x4 Australia magazine, and I was talking to him about D-Max, and he's just like, nah, it's like, as so many of the Australians, yeah, nah. He's like, you don't want a D-Max. I'm like, no, I think they're cool.
There's they keep changing their name. It's like 4-wheel drive 24-hour Australia or something like that. One of their guys has a D-Max, and that watching the stuff they do, like it versus a Land Cruiser, and it's like, wow, that's a pretty capable rig. It's I don't know. I compare it to a Tacoma. I almost think it's a little more capable because you can fit a little bit bigger of a wheel under there.
Yeah, they're popular in Australia, New Zealand, and all the bumper companies, Ironman, ARB, all those guys, they make stuff for them. But Isuzu pulled out of the United States. I want to say in 2005, but I could be wrong on that date. I just looked it up recently, but it got kind of sad towards the end there for Isuzu. But the Isuzu Pup, the Amigo, the Trooper, They had some legit 4-wheel drives out there. I'd rock. Of course, you can't talk about Isuzu without the Via Cross, right? So
yes, yeah. The D-Max, it's a 2.5 liter twin turbo diesel engine, and apparently it's bulletproof. They give it a 5-year, 125,000 mile warranty, which is insane. And it says that it only has 161 horsepower, but it's got 4,000 foot-pounds of torque.
no, 400. It's got to be 400.
Sorry. One too many zeros. 400 foot-pounds of torque. That extra turbo, just like, yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if it has 4,000 foot-pounds of torque, I'm moving to whatever country it's sold in.
4,000. You're gonna get after it. Yeah, but 400 is
that's a fantastic.
lot of torque for a midsize pickup.
Yeah.
Dan in the comments says that all 4 Adventure has a D-Max, and it's gotten through trails that their 79 series Land Cruiser got stuck on. So there you go.
Yeah.
Our next one here is the Aerial Nomad. Prior to the Aerial Nomad was the Aerial Atom, which was like just a tube frame sports. I don't know what you want to call it, a sports car, but
Go-kart.
That's much better.
What did it have? It had the Subaru turbo in it. Was that what the power plant was?
No, they ran Honda Type R engines in them, and I thought they ran something prior to the Honda engine.
Oh, okay.
It was, but then they ended up. Oh no, I think it was Type R for the European cars, and then when in the US they use like the Cobalt SS motor.
Oh, that's right. I'm remembering this now. Okay, yeah. The Nomad is the off-road rally kind of one. I know I've seen them with the Warn Power Sports winches on the front of them, but yeah, they look like a heck of a lot of fun on some gravel roads.
Yeah. Not so much trail rig, but something that you can drive in the desert and goof off with, and take that to the dunes. That'd be fun at the dunes.
Oh man, fun on the dunes.
If it like starts to get stuck, you just climb out and lift the front end and drag it sideways a little bit. Or
it's like an ATV.
Even a sandrail almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's like a high speed kind of a rig also. It's definitely not a crawler.
Yes. Definitely a good time on or off road, off the pavement, I should say.
Yep. All right. We're to the Nissan section. Everybody cheer. Nissan Patrol.
Hard to argue against having one of those here.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised there hasn't been a Patrol here in the States.
Well, there sort of has, right? And Aaron, maybe you know more about that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Armada, the current gen Armada is essentially the last gen Patrol, I believe, from the rest of the world. So we technically have a Patrol here, but I mean, and it is a good rig. The current gen Armada is a really good rig, but all the Patrols prior to that are what the Armada should have been prior to that as well. The Patrol has just been a stout rig. You can put it up against a Land Cruiser any day, and it'll do just as good as the Land Cruiser. Eric, yours is excited about the Patrol.
They're so cool. I know we saw a bunch of modern Patrols in Iceland, especially on big, like 44-inch tires. And then when we were in New Zealand, ran across the Patrols there as well. I have a buddy, Paul Hand, who lives in New Zealand. He's got a Patrol, and it's a pretty sweet rig. He's probably out camping with his family right now, but but super cool.
Yep. Yeah, they've always been good rigs, and there's a ton of aftermarket for those rigs in the prospective countries that they're in. So the next one is the Nissan X Terra. It's not the Nissan X Terra, it's the Nissan X Terra, which used to be the Nissan Terra. So this rig, it is based on the brand new Frontier that's coming out. So it's a body on frame SUV, and it to me looks like a classy. It looks like a classy Xterra. They say that it's got 3-row seats, so that'd be more like a Pathfinder. There it is in the video. I think it's a great looking rig. I like that it's on the Frontier chassis, which means that it's gonna have some chops. It's gonna be able to do off-road stuff.
Yeah, it would be a worthy forerunner competitor for sure.
Yes.
In other markets, it would also go up against the current Mitsubishi Montero Sport or Pajero Sport, independent front suspension, solid rear axle, and I think it would be a good addition. It just made the news, last week or the week before, where the dealers are begging Nissan to bring back the X Terra, or bring back the X Terra with the X Terra. So have something to go against the forerunner. I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, yeah, but how many forerunners do they sell? They sell about 130 to 140,000 forerunners a year, but it's really kind of the only vehicle like it left in its class. That's solid rear axle, independent front suspension, body on frame construction. There's not a whole lot of other vehicles out there right now that are offering that, so it's kind of the go-to. So the question is does Nissan or anybody else want part of that pie or not?
Well, I believe the only competition that it had with independent front and solid rear would be the Bronco that just came out. I don't think there's any other SUVs. Well, I take that back. I was gonna say the Land Cruiser, but the Land Cruiser is independent rear also. So yeah, I don't know. There isn't much competition out there for that segment.
Nope.
And obviously the Land Cruiser is bigger, but
right.
Yeah. And I guess you could put the Wrangler up against it because they're both SUVs and things like that, but that's a lot more hardcore and it's got a solid axle front. So
Agreed.
Eric says that it's too refined. Rick says it's too pretty. I agree with both of those things, but what's wrong with having heated and cooled seats in your off-road rig? I mean, if you were driving around Moab in your off-road rig and it's 100 degrees outside, you wouldn't want to have a little AC blowing and keeping your cheeks cool instead of being all sweaty and I don't know.
I'm just happy my rigs have seats. So
oh boy. Yeah. Well, let's move to the Toyota section. So Toyota Hilux. I've heard a lot of people clamoring for the Hilux. And a lot of people say, well, isn't that just a Tacoma? And from what I understand, the Hilux is like 90% size of a Tacoma. It's undersized. So it hasn't grown as much as the Tacoma has grown. So it's still smaller. It's not a mini truck by any means, but it'll fit in tighter trails and things like that. So it could have a place for sure. And it's stout. The Toyota Hilux have been just known for the robustness of them. Rick says, isn't there a diesel in it? Yep, you can get those with diesels. Apparently, you can drop them from buildings and tie them to seabeds and have the tide come in and out, and they'll still start up and run.
Yeah, the rest of the world gets the Hilux, but we get the Tacoma. So,
yep.
There is something to be said about having a global platform as a manufacturer for tooling costs and stuff like that. So I don't know, who knows? Maybe we'll get the Hilux instead of the Tacoma next. Maybe they'll still call it the Tacoma, but who knows?
Yeah. It is a little more round than what we get in the US. Our pickup trucks seem to be a lot more butch than the pickup trucks, at least the small pickup trucks in the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's also regulations in other countries that revolve around pedestrian safety. So maybe that's part of it. I'm not sure. I know when we were in Iceland in 2019, I know. Getting hit by cars, getting hit by a car, you'd think.
Get out of the way. Just don't stand in front of me then, right?
Right. Get out of the crosswalk. What are you doing in the crosswalk? But so
sidewalk.
I don't care if their light was red or not. No, anyway, all kidding aside, like we saw a whole bunch of, the more international trucks when we were in Australia, New Zealand, Iceland, and stuff like that. And yeah, they're just a little bit more round. And again, I don't know if that's just the different countries' tastes or if that's or if that's a safety thing or what. But let's face it. I mean, that Tacoma's got to be up for a revamp sometime in the next 10 years, right? I mean, it's already been out since what was it? 16 was the last redesign.
Yeah, I think 16 is when the third gen started.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the next one is the diesel Toyota Land Cruiser truck. So I don't think we got any Land Cruiser trucks in the U.S. at all. I think that's
no.
Is that a 79 series?
I think so. I also think that I think there's probably as much likelihood of us getting that as there is the Jimny coming to the United States. Unfortunately, don't get me wrong; they're super cool, but I mean that is definitely not something I would put on my short list, despite them being very, very cool rigs.
Yep. Yeah, that's a bummer. They should at least allow us to import them. Dan says that was a 79 series.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. Super, super tough. You know, all that stuff. It's like a modern classic. It's a shame that we can't get some of these things. Don't get me wrong. You know, but they're pretty sweet. Yeah. It's like the Australia special right there.
Mm-hmm. Dan says they also have a solid front axle. I should have known that. The 79 series is just a tank, and I believe they still make them alongside of all the rest of the rig. Even though they make a 200 series, they still make a 79 series. That's how awesome it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this next one, Andy, why don't you talk about the Trawler?
Yeah, the Trawler TX4. These things are a Brazilian-made SUV.
How many did they make?
A Brazilian of them. A Brazilian. Yeah, they're everywhere. But it's a Brazilian made four-wheel drive owned by Ford. Believe it or not, a lot of people think this is what the Bronco should have been, or these should have been based off of. I've seen a number of these come through the Warren Facebook page and Instagram page, and they're rad. They're super cool, super capable off-road vehicles. So, I don't know. I don't work at Ford. I don't know if this is something that's just the platform wouldn't cross over as well, or wouldn't meet emissions or crash safety ratings. But they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool rigs.
I wrote in the comments here that this is what the Bronco Sport should have been.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mahindra Scorpio is the next one on here. We do get one Mahindra.
Yep.
But we don't get the Scorpio, actually.
Nope.
And this, I believe, is about the size of the Suzuki Vitara.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a rig. So another compact SUV, but this one, once again, it's a capable rig.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. I'm gonna just say she's not the prettiest girl at the dance, but it's I'm sure God, that's a horrible thing to say. It ain't pretty in my opinion, but I think that it's probably capable. That one doesn't do much for me personally. I mean, I like the oddball rigs, but that one even hits my gag reflex a little bit. So
we're not going to see it in Andy's oddities anytime soon.
I didn't say that, but
okay, all right.
But it's not one that's going to grace my driveway anytime soon. Let's put it that way.
All right. Maybe if some importer brought one in and like no one's buying it, they just keep marking it down, and you see it for $2,500.
You know me too well.
Yeah. $2,500.
How much plasma do I have to sell to get this thing now? Right? I mean, like,
yep.
Yeah,
I mean, you're in Oregon. You could trade some pop cans for it.
I'll start saving those beer bottles. But it's trying to rope myself back in here. But the Mahindras are pretty tank-like. A lot of times they're a little more simple and whatnot, but I mean they're pretty durable little rigs. So I know that the Roxors and whatnot, I've wheeled with guys with Roxors before at Moab, and I mean, I know it's pretty much a CJ, but man, they're pretty capable little rigs. So something maybe a little bit more modern. I've also seen some of the I can't remember. If you remember, Mahindra was going to release a pickup truck in the United States. And as that whole thing was going down, I was in New Zealand at the time, and I saw some of them, and I thought, okay, I mean, it's kind of got that little bit different look to it, but if it's a good truck and it gets great mileage and all this stuff, well, it turned out it didn't get that great mileage, which is, I guess, one reason why they stopped the plan for it. But
okay, yeah,
an Indian company.
Yes.
Yeah.
From what I understand is that they're just super simplistic, like the old Land Rovers way back in the day, the original Defenders, and prior to that, the series trucks. They're just a tractor. It's just a tractor with a body on it. And when stuff is that simple, it works well.
Yeah, and Mahindra is known for making great tractors. So that makes perfect. That's a great explanation.
Yeah, Eric says it looks like a G-Wagon that dropped on its head as a baby.
I think that is an appropriate description.
And Rick says he's out. He wants nothing to do with it. So
yeah,
we should move on so we don't lose any more listeners because we're talking about Mahindras. Actually, we've gained 3 listeners since we talked about Mahindras. We've gone up.
Oh.
So hopefully they don't go away, as we're going to talk about Mitsubishis next, the Montero and Pajero.
Yeah, so I'm a Montero Pajero guy. I have 2 Mitsubishi Montero Pajero diesels, 91 and 1992. What we're looking at right now is the current Pajero Sport. This is for sale. This is what Mitsubishi could bring to this country to take on the 4Runner. I don't think it's going to happen, but boy, I think it would slot in pretty easily because they do make a left-hand drive variant of it. It's available in turbo diesel. It's a neat rig, very capable, all that stuff. So, I go ahead.
Would they call it like the Eclipse Sport or something when they brought it here?
No, God, I hope not. So I hope they would call it the Montero or something. I don't care what they call it. Don't. Let's stop the sport thing. But and let's not rename it something like the 3000 GT Cross or something. So, I am a Mitsubishi fan. The old stuff, I want them to succeed. I just got the press release that the new 2022 Outlander is coming out. I'm going to debut it on Amazon Live. But that Pajero Sport would be an easy drop in for the US and would be pretty cool vehicles. The Montero Pajero is the most winning platform at the Dakar Rally still to date. I love mine. I mean, my 91 and 92 are still, they have automatic climate control. They've got all sorts of things that are like, this is a 92? Like, yeah. So
way ahead of the time. The lockers on the Monteros.
Yep, you could get a factory rear locker with the Monteros. There was a whole host of engine choices. I think Mitsubishi, I'm looking at you, Mitsubishi. I think you should bring back that Montero. I think it would do well for this country.
So you said they're going to show it on Amazon Live. Are they don't have any like dealers anymore? So are they like going to start selling them on Amazon? Is that where they're kind of predicating it with that?
No, they have plenty of dealers and they're still opening new dealers. You're just killing me, Aaron. Jeez. Anyway, yes, Mitsubishi's still alive. They still sell cars. Don't listen to Aaron on this one. Anyway, but they're debuting it on Amazon. So
okay.
Anyhow.
All right. Well, another Mitsubishi here. This one, Andy slipped in the Mighty Max, the L200 and Strata. So
right now we're looking at a Mighty Max. This is the 2-wheel drive Mighty Max. They came with the 2.6 liter carbureted 4-cylinder or a 3-liter V6 especially when equipped with 4-wheel drive. They stopped bringing these into the United States in, I believe, 94, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong by a year or two there, but they didn't give us the next body style for whatever reason. But these are still sold, not in this body style, but in the new body styles all over the world, pretty much like everywhere but the United States. They'd have to make it in the United States to avoid the dreaded chicken tax. on imported light vehicles. Whether or not they could do that, I don't know. We thought maybe they could put it on a Navara chassis or something like that, which is the Nissan, being that Nissan and Mitsubishi are tied together. I'm not going to go down the total nerd-jacking rabbit hole on this, but I do think that Mitsubishi should bring a pickup truck back to the United States.
I believe that original truck that Ben was showing was also sold as like a Dodge D50 or something like that.
Great point. Yes, these were sold as the Dodge D50 or the Dodge Power Ram, I think it was called. Also the Plymouth Arrow, I think it was. And they were great little trucks, but we're not living in a little truck era anymore. But I will say that again, I've seen the Mitsubishi L200 Strata, whatever they call it, I think that's what they call it, is in Iceland when we were there, and it's right just like Hilux, D-Max, L200. I mean, they're all kind of popular mid-sized trucks around the world, except here.
It's funny because the whole mini truck crowd is huge here still. I know here in Washington, I've had a few guys with mini trucks come in looking for slamming kits and stuff. I'm like, I don't really do that, but
yeah. I just rearranged it here. We're gonna bump the one that was there just down a couple.
Sure.
So the next one is the Ford Ranger Raptor. So the Ranger's been out for feels like 3 or 4 years now. The new Ranger.
I got to drive one last week.
We haven't got the Raptor version that the rest of the world has had for a couple years now. I'm a little disappointed in that.
Yeah.
I got to drive a Ranger, and I was actually impressed with it. I wonder why haven't they?
Yeah,
I think the explanation that I have read is that they're afraid it'll cannibalize regular Raptor sales. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Ford did a Focus ST and a Fiesta ST, and they still kept the Mustang as well. Like, they had performance variants. So I think they should personally bring us a Ranger Raptor, or at least maybe like a Ranger ST or RS or something that ups that performance on that Ranger.
Yeah. I mean, they do have, I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, but they do have one that is kind of licking at the heels of what a Raptor could be, but it's not completely Raptored out by any stretch of the imagination. So I guess it would be like what the TRD version of a Ranger would be, because the TRD truck's nothing like a Raptor. It's not long travel. Well, FX4, but I thought there was a package beyond the FX4 that they had for the Ranger, but I can't totally remember. But as we were doing this, I did some looking and reading, and I found an article that says that Ford is going to bring it to America in 2023. They haven't officially said it, but it is all but officially been announced that the Raptor Ranger is coming in 2020 or as a 2023 model. Oh, Dan is saying a Ranger trimmer, and I think that sounds right. I know they have an F-150 trimmer, which is like a step below the Raptor. It's got some more upgraded things than just the FX4 would have. So, yeah, we'll see if the Raptor really is coming in a couple years.
This next one here, I like them. I really do. I probably would never fit in one.
You can't not like it.
Oh yeah, I just excuse me here. My computer is about to die because I stupidly forgot to put it in, plug it in. But yeah, I just wrote about this. I write a column for Trails magazine. And I called Andy's Oddities, and it's all about odd vehicles. And this is the Lada Niva, is a Russian-built four-wheel drive car. And before you go, oh, it's like a soft rotor. No, this thing is four-wheel drive, full-time four-wheel drive. It's got a locking center diff. It's got four-wheel low. These things are like little beasts. They're awesome. They may or may not be pre-rusted from the factory, but they are amazing.
Sure. Yep.
So, in fact, when I wrote the article on them, and I talked to a couple of owners across the world, one of which was in the Netherlands, couple of them were in Iceland. One was in Canada. And Fred Kriegsman, who's a well-known journalist across the world, he showed me a video on YouTube that it's like a Model T. It comes with a crank. You can crank start the engine from the front. He's like, they just always start because you can always. Apparently, I'm also told by an Icelandic owner, you have to I'm sorry, if it's a New Zealand owner. Actually, it's the same guy who owns the Patrol I just talked about. But he said that if you read the manual, it tells you how to like light a fire underneath the oil pan to keep the oil cold in Siberia.
That's awesome. I want to just get on eBay and order an instruction manual for it just so I can read the manual.
That's one of these cars that I would I'm not sure I want to own one, but I really want to drive one. I think it would be a hoot to drive. It definitely probably has a novelty to it. And I saw one back in 2006 in Germany, and I was like, again, I'm like a kid who just saw a Lamborghini, right? I'm like, oh my God, a lot of Niva, right? And but it was very cool.
And they've been selling them for forever.
Yes, 400 years actually.
400 years, or
400, yes.
Or is it 4,000?
That's 4,000. It was before the invention of the wheel. They were way ahead of their time.
Yeah, they've been selling them for a really, really, really long time.
Communist Russia, car perfect, no change.
It looks, from what I'm seeing, just glancing on Wikipedia, it looks like the prototype was in 1974.
Yeah.
Production started in 75. So they've been around for a really long time. Almost
as long as the current generation Tacoma. So, but I'm sorry, I had to say it.
No, actually, more slander would have been saying the current generation Frontier.
Frontier.
Since 05.
Yeah, no, you're right. Frontier. I take it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I did just read they're coming out with a new redone version. So, change is slow, but
has it got new headlights or something? They're finally getting rid of the sealed beam headlights and they're putting halogens in.
Oof, man, I'll tell you what.
9,007 bulbs.
What a time to be alive.
I'm looking. I found one here online, and it sold here in the States for just under $9,000. So if you
that's
novelty.
Too much. I think you could fill a shipping container with them from Russia for $9,000 and have them, including shipping, have them delivered probably.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the Icelanders who helped me write the article, he said that the joke is if the Lada Niva isn't rusting from the factory, there must be something wrong with it. So
something wrong.
So,
give you the car. So
my first car was a Geo Metro, and I'm not ashamed to say it. 3-cylinder, 5-speed, and I always wanted to buy a Suzuki Sidekick or a Suzuki Samurai and take the shell off and pop it onto that. And that's what I see the Lada Niva as, is someone who's body swapped a car onto a 4-wheel drive chassis.
Well,
yeah.
Heat frame.
It would be a great Gambler 500 rig.
Yeah.
Oh man, absolutely. Yep. Well, this next one is all you, Andy.
So I kind of ponder this, right? So I have a 4-wheel drive van. It's a 94 Mitsubishi Delica, right? So turbo diesel, 5-speed manual, 4-wheel drive, low range, solid rear axle. And it's great, right? Well, like if you want a camper van in this country, or you want a 4-wheel drive van in this country, you either have to go with like an older Ford or Chevy van, right? Maybe like a Sportsmobile or a Quigley or something like that. Or you're spending money on a Sprinter van. You're spending big bucks on a Sprinter van or a Ford Transit or something like that. But like that whole VW Vanagon, the Synchro sized vehicles or the Astro van all-wheel drives, like that segment is gone. Like there's nothing out there anymore. And I'm sort of surprised that nobody offers anything. Like you're either buying a 2-wheel drive van or you're getting a Sprinter. There's no middle ground. Like in other countries, Volkswagen offers the California van, which is the pop top. Mitsubishi still makes a version of the Delica in Japan, and they import them other places. But even like Nissan, the MV, full-size MVs, I would think that, gosh, I've seen their dealers that are doing four-wheel drive conversions on them. But apparently there's not enough market for one, I guess. And I'm fully willing to admit that I'm the fringe lunatic who thinks there should be, but
I don't know. Van life in the past, I don't know, 10 years has exploded. Unfortunately, it's really wealthy people who are leading the charge. But we need a cheaper option.
I'm with Dan. Yeah, I think we need the new Delica here. There's just like nothing.
What is it? The NV vans. It's there. There's a handful of people here in where I live that have them, and they're lifted. And I was like, that's really cool. And I looked into it, and like the 4-wheel conversion for that, all it is a Titan transfer case, or transmission transfer case, like 4-wheel knob parts and all that.
Yeah,
it has those on the dash, ready to go.
It's all factory.
It's all factory. It's all ready to go. Why don't they just do it from the factory and make it simple? They would sell. I would buy one.
I mean, you would think that. I mean, like, listen, I get it. The Transits and the Mercedes-Benz, they're probably selling the majority of them to delivery places, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I bet I could find it, but I would be curious what the percentage of 4-wheel drive Sprinters and Transits are compared to 2-wheel drives. I'm sure it's very small comparatively. But, Mercedes-Benz has a minivan called the Metris, and they do make a factory pop-top kind of conversion for it. Or it's not a conversion, it's a factory, and it's not cheap, right? But it's like it's the closest thing you can get, but it's still 2-wheel drive, right? So meanwhile, you're watching Toyota Hiace, Mitsubishi Delica, and the most egregious example of this is the Volkswagen Synchro van prices just going up and up and up. I mean, you can't pick up a Synchro van that's all converted for under $50,000, $60,000 these days.
Yeah,
and
that one is absurd.
You've got to have the cash in hand. Nobody ain't going to finance you for an 85 Volkswagen van for $60,000.
Nope.
But you know what? If you can finance that stuff and you put that, you roll that into, 96 easy monthly payments, I mean, it's I would think that there's a market for that, but I'm also, again, fully willing to admit that maybe I just think there is, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, Dom. It is definitely overpriced. Andy, I think people could start slotting in doesn't have to be a microbus, but it could just be a mid-size van that has some chops to it.
Well,
yeah.
So Volkswagen's supposed to be bringing back their van as an electric vehicle.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see if they have an all-wheel drive version and if they do a camper conversion. I mean, this is the time to do it. The whole outdoors life and van life and all that, I can see it selling.
Totally. That's exactly my point, Ben. Is it's like with the van life thing and all this stuff, you think that there's some people out there like maybe they don't want something the size of a Sprint van. I don't need something the size of a Sprint van. Like I just want to be able to sleep in it, have my off-road fridge and room for my gear, right? I'm fine with it. That's why I have a Delica. But I mean, it'd be nice to have something that has, new parts, warranty, all those things. But I don't know. We'll have to. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. I'm not holding my breath on that one either. So
yeah, I just realized the problem. We're Americans, and Americans like big things.
Well, a lot of people like to, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of people want to bring all their stuff with them, like in an RV or a fifth wheel or a toy hauler, and that's fine. And it very well may be possible that this just isn't the market for that kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I still want one.
Yeah, I'd 100%. I'm with you. I'll come camping in yours with you. The last one here is any key vehicle. I love these things. I've been more half tempted so many times than Ben has in his entire life put together to buy one of these for my farm. I think I've even talked to Andy or reached out on Crankshaft Culture about this. Unfortunately, in Oregon, you can't license these things for the street like you can in a lot of other states. And this would be the ideal farm truck for me. Like, for instance, my pickup truck currently is got all my camping stuff just loaded in the back, ready to go. And I need to go pick up some chicken and pig feed. That means I got to empty all the stuff out of the back of it so I can run to town and have them throw 12 bags of feed in the back. If I had one of these bad boys, I'd drive it to work. I wouldn't even need that 99 Toyota Avalon. I'd be rocking one of these, driving it back and forth to work.
And you'd be the coolest dude at the pig feed place with one of those. Let me tell you right now. So
yeah,
especially that lifted one. That one I believe is on Suzuki Jimmy running gear. But even so, like, these things are awesome. I am in love with these things, and you're spot on with Oregon. By the way, Washington, you can register them. Oregon, it's not something that's easily doable. But and yeah, they have a drop side bed on that, so it totally folds down. It's pretty cool. My buddy Twan, who lives up in Tacoma, he's got a Suzuki Carry, and we've run the trails up at Tahuya with him, you know, and it's great. You know, I was at Rally on the Rocks, which is a UTV event like 10 years ago. It was like the second one, and there was a dude that had a lifted Suzuki Carry like that. And there was one guy that had to hang onto the back of it to keep it from going like this down going down like this, but that four-wheel low, you've got a heater. It's like a more comfortable side-by-side. Arguably more capable, too, for payload.
Right? Yeah. The guy who I bought my LMTV from, he lives in Washougal. He now lives in Alaska. But he bought one from, I think, Puget Sound Naval Shipyard had an auction, and he bought one there. And it was the four-door version, which was super rare. And it was left-hand drive because it was sold in the US somehow, and obviously he got a license because he was in Washington, and we drove that to the store and back one time to go get ice cream, and it was just a hoot. And he says he loads 4 mountain bikes in the back of it, 4 friends inside of it, and they'll go up in the woods and just go ride mountain bikes, and it's 4 adult men inside of that little tiny thing, no problem. And they come with there's a 4-door version. They come with lockers. You can get lockers front and rear in them. Sometimes they have a hydraulic dump bed on them, and the sides fold down on the beds. They make van versions. So it'll have 2 front doors and it'll have sliding doors. Yeah.
I wrote a story on Crankshaft Culture, K-car camper vans, and there's a whole thing in Japan where people turn these into little camper vans. I mean, they're big enough to sleep in, all that stuff. And again, I don't think I'd want to go on the interstate through Idaho in one at the 80-mile-an-hour speed limit, but if you stuck to the byway or the highways and the byways, I think that it'd be cool. But even just for like you're saying, for farm use, being able to drive it at least from one plot of land to another one or something like that legally would be great. I actually talked to the state of Oregon about it. I talked to the media contact about it, and got a pretty bogus answer about why they're not legal in the U.S. So it's a shame, but I do think that making them legal, even if we're going to have to follow the 25-year import, I would think the 25-year import law would have precedence over the state's ability to do that. But it's a states' rights thing, and apparently it's. I hear there is a insurance lobby in this state that lobbies against their road use, is what I've read. There's a good Pacific Northwest K Cars group on Facebook that I'm a moderator of. So
I just had a great idea. My mother-in-law lives in Washington. If I bought one, gave it to her as a gift, licensed it at her house, but it just happened to reside in Oregon, loopholes.
Loophole, minor loophole. Yes, my stepmother just moved from Camas to Portland, so my loophole has been closed, unfortunately. But
shoot.
Yeah, no, they're super cool.
I believe I watched a video on Donut Media. They did something where they talked about LLCs in like Montana, New York. Maybe it was in New York. A couple.
I've heard about stuff like that.
Yeah, me too.
Register their rigs at PO boxes in those states and get way cheaper licensing fees than what some of these states are charging.
Company
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, I've heard the Montana thing before. So
Yeah.
I actually talked with a guy at SEMA who had it was a Honda Acti, and it was I think it was in the Auto Home rooftop tent booth, and they put a rooftop tent on the back of one of these things. And I got talking with him extensively, and he brought up the Montana thing. So
Was it like a toddler rooftop tent?
it was for cats.
Yeah, I'm sure it was the smallest model, so it didn't completely dwarf. It looked like a sombrero on top of top of the Honda Acti.
Well, isn't that how my tent looks on top of my 4Runner?
Yeah, exactly. Brent says that they had the K cars in the Air Force bases, and they're great for moving around. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure side impacts aren't good for them. Like if someone crashes in the side, probably not the best, but
yeah. Now, you know what else not great in a side impact? A motorcycle, but they're legal. So
right. Thank you. Exactly. And these get probably 3/4 of the fuel economy as a motorcycle, and have a heater and an air conditioner and windshield wipers.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
get with it, Oregon.
Yeah, get with it. Eric says here in the comments, Chevy should bring back the Astro with 4-wheel for van life. Maybe we need to do another topic about, so these are cars we couldn't get in the US. Maybe we should do another topic in the future of vehicles that have gone away that they should bring back that were available in the US.
Yeah. I think the Astro's a great one. I have a friend with one in Wisconsin, and they're popular with the 4-wheel drive crowd. You know, apparently it's not too hard to put a 2-speed transfer case in them too, but so.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear those bolt right in. Yeah, for sure. Well, we want to once again thank everybody who listens to us weekly and who's stuck with us. We only ran 20 minutes late this time, but I don't think people really care. They enjoy the topic. They enjoy the banter. They come here to listen. They don't come here for a 1-hour show. They just come here to hang out. So we appreciate you guys who listen live. We love all the comments. We love hearing from you guys. It's a lot of fun getting all these comments from all the different sources. We've got 2 different Facebook feeds. We've got a YouTube feed, lots of places to check us out. And then, of course, once it's edited, you can find us out wherever you listen to podcasts at. If you really like us, make sure you're sharing us with your friends. Tell them all about us. Just to help us grow a show. That's how we do this. We try to be all organic. We aren't paying for the Russian bots or whatever to get us going. So we really appreciate you guys, and God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening.
And thanks for coming on to co-host, Andy.
My pleasure. That was great. Lots of fun. Enjoyed it.
We'll have you back in 25 years when there's some cool cars.
I'll have at least one Jimny by then.
Nice.